So iblish sabon dil par karta hai patsahi, ye ilham fera haq ka दुश्मनी से आई. जान बूझ आपको बुरा न चाहे कोई, पर ये काम इब्लिस का मारी रहा इस्लाम की सोए. पर ये काम इब्लिस का मारी रहा इस्लाम की सोए. सो इब्लिस सबो दिल पर. बोलो श्री प्राणनाथ प्यारे की जय. सतगुरु महाराज की जय. कृष्ण कन्हैया लाल की जय. Dear Chandraji, on yesterday's discourse we talked about the 12 moments, their audacity, and how they could finally meet the Emperor Aurangzeb. As Rosie reviewed yesterday's session, we talked about their sacrifice, their audacity, their fearlessness, because it could be their last day, to be honest. They were not sure whether they would survive another day, because no one ever dared talking to Aurangzeb the way they did. Full of confidence, with such an excitement, as they realized that Aurangzeb might be paying attention to what they had to say. As we talked about it already, when the Lord graces you, then regardless of how the world reacts, even when the whole world is turned against you, nothing can be done against you. No harm can be done to you. So these 12 moments are explaining the arrival of Imam Mahdi and want to talk to Aurangzeb in private, because they want to convince him. If he could be convinced, they know that it won't take time to persuade or convince the other associates of the emperor. So they want nothing else, as Aurangzeb repeatedly asked if they needed something from him. If they needed some materials, if they needed some wealth, if they needed some prestige, if they needed any titles, they want nothing. They say that we have left all this long time ago. We do not have any craving for worldly glory, but we want to understand and remind you, either way, the true teachings of Islam. So, as Aurangzeb sees them and their demeanor and their confidence, Aurangzeb asks if they have any book that contained the message of Mahdi Imam. Sadly, that day they didn't have the book of Sananda with them, because they did not know that they could meet the emperor that day. While they were singing the verses from the book of Sananda, they were singing the glory of Prophet Muhammad, the true teachings of Islam. They didn't have the book that day. And the associates were afraid that the emperor might be deviated from the path of Islam. So they were telling him that he should not meet them in private, because they could have some ulterior motives. And as you might be already aware, that Aurangzeb had so many enemies. He had created so many enemies for himself. So these guys could have some ulterior motives, and these guys could be spies. So Aurangzeb was told, in the reign of your father Shahjahan, nobody would dare talk to the emperor like this. Their head would be chopped off. They would be executed right then and there. But these guys are speaking in such a fearlessness. The Sultan, the Emperor Aurangzeb, realized that these guys were indeed the good guys with some divine messages for him. So he asked Siddhipola, the police chief, to take care of them. In that moment, they realized that the moment, the precious moment they had was gone, because Siddhipola, Sheikh Nizam, and all those 5 associates were already sent the letters, but they were hesitant to respond. Sometimes they said they didn't have time. Sometimes they said the answers to these questions could not be found by them, could only be answered by the emperor himself. And they knew that they would not be treated justly and fairly by Siddhipola or his associates, the associates of Prannathji. So as soon as Mahamati Prannathji knows that this Sundar Shahji got a chance to meet Aurangzeb, but now they are under the house arrest and they are not treated fairly, they are beaten, they are not given the due respect as the messengers of Imam. Mahamati Prannathji realizes that, so iblish sabo dil par karata hai patsai. The Satan is ruling the minds and hearts of these associates. जान बूझा आपको बुरा न चाहे कोई, पर एक काम अबलिस का मारी रहा इस्लाम की सोच. Nobody would intentionally want to hurt the messengers of God, but since the Satan is inside their hearts, they are blocking the path of true Islam for everyone. So who is this iblish? There are some different accounts about iblish or Ajajil, for that matter, who they are. I was looking at Quran, the description of iblish and Ajajil. I was looking at the description of these archangels in the Christian scriptures. There are different accounts, but based on what Mahamati Prannathji says, Laldas says in the Beetak, let me explain who Ajajil and iblish are. So in Vedic scriptures, Brahmaji, the first created human beings are Manu and Satrupa, and we are the offsprings of Manu and Satrupa. Since we are the offspring of Manu, we are all called Manushya, or humans. In Quran and Hadith and in Bible, the similar concept is there. We all are the offspring of Adam and Eve. So the Khuda, Allah, the Lord, once thought of creating the world, once thought of creating human beings, and he asked his archangels to create someone in his likeness and image. Some created humans from gold, some from other precious metals, and Ajajil created human in the form and likeness of God from clay. So he created a shape, but as Khuda asked him to give life to that form, they could not. Ajajil created the human being out of clay with the mix of 5 elements, but he could not bring him to life. So what God did was God put life into it. And since God put life into it, and human being was created in his image and likeness, all the archangels were told to prostrate before Adam and Eve. While Adam was created first, Eve was created. It was believed that she was created from the left arm of Adam. So Adam and Eve were allowed to stay in the Garden of Eden, a heavenly place with all the facilities. They were forbidden to do one thing and one thing only, that is to eat the fruit from the tree of knowledge. They were specifically told that they were forbidden from eating the fruit from that tree. Adam and Eve were there happily. However, Ajajil, since he did not follow the orders of the Lord to prostrate to Adam, he was expelled from heaven. So he had the sense of enmity to Adam and Eve because of them he was expelled from the kingdom of God, from heaven. He was among the most obedient and closest archangels of God. But since he did not prostrate, he disobeyed God, he was expelled from heaven. He had not left an inch. He had never missed an opportunity to prostrate before God, but he did not want to prostrate before Adam because he created Adam himself. So Adam and Eve are in the Garden of Eden. They are happily because God wanted to create human beings. One day, Ajajil took a form of a serpent and went inside the Garden of Eden. Ajajil tempted Eve to consume the fruit from the tree of knowledge. She initially hesitated. She didn't want to go against the will of God. But she could not resist the temptation as Ajajil relentlessly tries to convince her that the fruit tastes so good. And God did not want her to enjoy the taste of that fruit. And God was not serious about it. So he tries to convince her in any way possible. She could not resist. She plucked the fruit and took a bite. As soon as she took a bite, she realized that she was naked. She was ignorant of her reality. But as soon as she took a bite, she realized what was happening with her body. And she realized that she had made a grave mistake. Now, Adam came around and she asked Adam to do the same because she had already taken a bite of that fruit. Adam resisted initially, but realized that what would he do without Eve? Because they were the first couple living in the Garden of Eden. Now, Adam also took a bite from that fruit and realized right away what is right and what is wrong. They were both naked. He realized that that is not how they want to come forward when the Lord would visit the Garden of Eden. So they wrapped their body with whatever they could find, the leaves of bananas or whatever, they covered their body. So one day, God came to the Garden of Eden looking for Adam and Eve. He called out their names. Adam, Eve, where are you guys? They initially hid themselves behind a tree, but as God called their name frequently, they came forward, covered their body with all these leaves. And God realized that they had disobeyed him. They had certainly eaten a fruit from the garden, from the tree of knowledge. God was furious. This is a Christian and Islamic story. So There are many questions. I have many questions surrounding this story, but for now, what God did was God expelled Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden to the world. And God cursed Eve for disobeying Him first. God cursed her to suffer the pain during childbearing, that her body would be weak, not as strong as that of man, and that she would have to suffer a lot during the childbearing. And God cursed Adam as well because he listened to Eve, saying that he would always have to listen to Eve, to his wife, and that he would never be as happy as he was in the Garden of Eden. He would always suffer. Thus, Adam and Eve were sent or expelled from the Garden of Eden to the world. However, they knew that they had made the mistake by disobeying God. So what Adam and Eve do is they repent their mistake. As you look at the Christian stories or Islamic stories, especially the Christian stories, they incurred the sin, Adam and Eve. That sin is called original sin. It is that sin that is passed on to humanity from Adam and Eve to everyone, every human beings of the world today. And Jesus came forward, the Son of God, and he gave his blood. He sacrificed his life such that all of humanity could be purified, all of their sins could be washed away. So, according to Christianity, those who believe in Jesus and his sacrifices, their sins are washed away and they make it to heaven, and those who do not go to hell for eternity. So that is something that we can talk about in another session. But that is the story of Ajajil. Now Ajajil creates a son out of his mind. His name is Iblish. Ajajil is still not happy, knowing that Adam and Eve are expelled from the Garden of Eden. So Ajajil finds a way to torture Adam and Eve in any ways possible. As I already told you, Adam and Eve are the forefathers of humanity. They give birth to numerous children, and Adam and Eve give them good education in a school. So Ajajil is not happy that Adam is given the respect by his offsprings because he's giving them good education and good life. So he asked his son, Iblish, to torture the children of Adam and Eve. So Iblish goes to the school where these kids attend, and he starts torturing them. He takes different forms and starts harassing them. And Adam knows that his children are suffering because of Iblish. So Adam decides that Iblish be killed. So he suggested children to chop Iblish into pieces and eat him alive. According to this story, the children of Adam killed Iblish and chopped him into pieces and then ate him. And finally, Ajajil comes looking for Iblish. And none of the children seem to know where he was. They pretend that they don't know if Iblish came to their school. And Ajajil starts calling the name of his son. Iblish, 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 where are you, my son? and iblish starts speaking from inside those children because they all ate him. So Iblis starts talking from inside, Dad, I'm here, Dad, I'm here, Dad, I'm here, Dad, I'm here. That moment, Ajajil finds himself fully satisfied and he says, Son, you bother them from inside and I'll bother them from outside. So such is the case, such is the story of Iblis. Here Mahamati Prannathji says, Para ye kama iblis ka mari raha Islam ki soy. So Iblis sabon dila para karata hai patasahi. That Iblis is residing in everyone's heart. And he's ruling, he's misguiding them. The job of Iblis is to disorient humanity from reaching out to God. That's the work of Satan. So in Islam, in Christianity, in that concept of Satan, Satan is that form, that negative energy, negative force that misguides humanity from its true potential, finding God, self-realization, and eventual salvation. So Mahamati Prannathji realizes that it is because Iblis is residing in the hearts of these Muslims. These associates of Aurangzeb, they are not letting Aurangzeb have one-on-one conversation with these 12 moments. Mahamati Prannathji is upset. Mahamati Prannathji is upset that they didn't get a chance to have one-on-one with Aurangzeb, but he thinks that there might be a moment. If Raji wills that they would be able to meet him once and have one-on-one conversation with him. Mahamati Prannathji is so proud of their work, so proud of their fearlessness, so proud of their audacity because they have sacrificed their lives for the cause of propagating the teachings of Mehdi Imam, the teachings of Satguru Shree Devchandraji Maharaj, the teachings of Mahamati Prannathji himself. मेरे प्राण के प्रीतम साथ मेरे सिरदार आत्म के आधार हो जीव के जीवन हो स्तवार मेरे प्रेम भीने श्री साथ जी मेरे सांचे सुर धीर पाँव भर दिखावत रूह को तुम बैठे हो आकटे फिर. Mahamati Prannathji writes letters glorifying each of the 12 moments. He writes them individually for their courage, for their audacity, for their sacrifice. Because anything could have happened to them. Like I said, even the associates of Aurangzeb said if it was the time of Shahjahan, their head would be chopped off right there. Aurangzeb, he was in pursuit of Imam Mehdi. And these souls, these 12 guys, seemed so pure that he realized they might indeed be the momins, true souls, meek souls, the souls of Khuda. Mahamati Prannathji writes the letter to Ladasi, Vimbai, Nagzi, Chintamani, Dayaram, Chansalvai, Gangaram, Banarasi, Sheikh Badal, Kaim Mullah, these 12 souls, and greets them, prostrates to them. Indravati ki vashana me dikhe pranama kotana kot abhidhariyo tinako lijo dhani ki ot. Mahamati Prannathji is so glad, so happy that they were ready to take a lead. They were ready to make an attempt to awaken the spirit, the soul of Sakumar. Mahamati Prannathji ensures them, Mahamati Prannathji consoles them that Satyameva Jayate, the truth will be victorious at the end. The victory of truth is inevitable. It may take some time, but it would definitely happen that Aurangzeb will listen to you one day. Mahamati Prannathji writes 2 letters to the Sundar Sats. One is called Badi Patri and the other one is called Choti Patri. It is a letter of instructions and guidance to these 12 souls. Mahamati Prannathji tells them, if they ask, if the associates of Aurangzeb ask, if you guys want anything, तुमको कछु देने कहे तो मागियो हवेली तुम्मा खाने का पेट माफक और मुल्ला पड़ा होने कलाम. If they ask to provide something to you guys, what you ask for is a small place for you to stay. Not delicacies of food, but something that you can survive on. And ask for a mullah, an Islamic teacher, to teach you Quran. Because Mahamati Prannathji wants them to learn Quran and then reveal the secrets of Quran to them, because they have an understanding, to have a religious debate. और कागद बेतमाल को बेतमाल से हुए रसूल अलैहिस्सलाम सूत महीने से मांगियो हमको देव तालीम. And ask for a training on the teachings of Quran. And ask for the books from the library. These are the 5 things you ask. Mahamati Prannathji guides them. Be humble, be polite, be disciplined. Mahamati Prannathji says, be childlike, but not childish in your state. Be humble, be respectful, and always spend your time reading books. And make sure that they regard you as the meek and humble souls. Mahamati Prannathji thus guides these 12 moments. He is himself in Tama Pahadi, making sure that these 12 moments are doing okay. Mahamati Prannathji tells them, because these moments, for example, Chintamani, he had 500 disciples one time. He was the leader of Kabir Panth. And these 12 moments are wearing plain white loincloths. They are going there as renunciates, sannyasi. Mahamati Prannathji says, do not feel ashamed of your costumes. Mahamati Prannathji guides them how they should live every day in the house arrest of these associates. Govinda Veda tum janata taku balana chale lagara eka 5 varsh ka balak taay na saki mara. Mahamati Prannathji gives the reference of Govinda Veda and ask them to be careful of what they do, how they live every moment in the house arrest of these associates. So who was Govinda Veda? According to the description, there was a guy named Govinda Patel. He was a respected man in his village, but he had ulterior motives. He was the head, he was the chief of that village, but he was so mean, so selfish, so greedy, that he did not have any respect for anyone. He wanted to collect everything for himself. He did not have any spiritual devotion. He did not have any faith in God. He was so materialistic. One day he died. Since he did not believe in faith, he did not have any good karma, he became a ghost. And once he finds himself as a ghost, he realized that if I'm having to live this life as a ghost, I'll make everyone have the similar fate. So he kills his wife and she becomes the ghost herself. He kills his children and they become the ghost. And gradually his house becomes the house of ghost. And since the ghosts reside in his house, he is called Govinda Veda. They become famous as Govinda Veda. One day a saint, a sadhu, came to that town with his disciples. They were going to a pilgrimage via that village. Everyone reminded the saint to not go via that village because everyone getting there would be killed and turned into a ghost. But the saint said, I am a saint. I will not be misguided from my journey. He had disciples and he promised his disciples, he reminded them that this is a place, this is a village of ghosts. So make sure that you continue to chant the name of God. Do not carry anything more than that you need. And follow my orders. So as these saints and his disciples continue to move forward via that village, Mahatmaji is chanting the name of God. He is asking his disciples to do the same. The disciples are following his lead and they move forward. But Govinda Veda is trying to disorient the saint and his disciples. There are so many beautiful things, beautiful dishes, the jewelries, and many other things along the way. And Govinda Veda is asking them to take them with them because you are going to the pilgrimage. You may need this. The saint says, this is materialistic and we are into spirituality. So we have nothing to do with this. Oh, my disciples, please do not get disoriented. So everyone is moving forward and Govinda Veda realizes that probably this trick is not going to work. So he places some blankets along the way of the saint and the disciples. He asks his disciples to take one blanket each because you are going to the pilgrimage, and it might be cold there. A blanket would help you. You may be able to sleep on it, you may be able to cover your body with it, and it may help you greatly during the time of the cold. The saint was not bothered or did not pay attention to what Govinda Veda had to say. So he moved forward. The most disciplined, obedient disciples also moved forward. They did not care for the blanket. Those were the Brahmasrishtis type. Those were the true souls. There were others, not as obedient and disciplined, but those who would follow the orders of the saint. They also ignored what Govinda Veda had to say. They did not take any blankets. And there were the other ones, remaining ones. They, despite their master telling them not to take anything, got a blanket each. And they were promptly killed and they become the ghost themselves. Mahamati Prannathji says, to this 12 momins, do not be tempted by Aurangzeb and his associates. Do not be tempted by the material riches and glories of the palace of Aurangzeb at the Red Fort. Do not be tempted by the food. Do not be tempted by the ornaments, jewelries that may be given to you. Just ask for a few books. Do not eat more than what you need to. Do not ask for anything that you do not need. All you care about, all you ask for is a Muslim teacher so that you can learn Quran and in turn you can remind them the true teachings of Quran. Mahamati Prannathji reminds them the glory of their work. Tumma sabako dhanya dhanya kahega ye sansar, you are glorious soul. If you follow this guidance and lead your life the way I have told you, then your name will be glorified. These 12 moments are there in the house arrest of these associates of Aurangzeb. On the other side, Mahamati Prannathji realizes that it's about time that he comes out of Kama party and starts awakening other souls. So, Kama party se hoye, aaye bicha mera dina ek adwe rahke piche aaye sanganera. Mahamati Prannathji comes to Sanganer from Amir. In Mahamati Prannathji's revelations, there are about 18,000 verses, of which 6,000 of them are the revelations of the secrets of Vedic scriptures. So Mahamati Prannathji's intention was to reveal the secrets of Vedic scriptures. Among 6,000 of the other ones are the revelations of Quran in the Bible. And the remaining 6,000 are the description of the Supreme Abode of Paramdham. So the goal of Mahamati Prannathji was to reveal the sectarian knowledge in Vedic and Abrahamic scriptures and awaken all of humanity with the transcendent knowledge of Paramdham. Mahamati Prannathji is trying to awaken the whole of humanity with this transcendent understanding. And Mahamati Prannathji realizes that it's about time that he should come out and awaken other souls, because Aurangzeb is not listening, is not having one-on-one with his souls. So it's about time he realizes that he comes out of Namabari. In Britanta Muktavali, there is a description by Brajabhushan Maharaj that Mahamati Prannathji meets Aurangzeb in secret. There is no description of such meeting in the Beetak of Lal Dasi, but in the Beetak of Brajabhushanji Maharaj in Britanta Muktavali, there is a description that Mahamati Prannathji had actually got a chance to meet Aurangzeb. Mahamati Prannathji asked Aurangzeb to listen to the Hakikat and Marfat, the transcendent understanding. But Aurangzeb is not ready to surrender, ready to leave the ritualistic beliefs that he had. He instead offers Mahamati Prannathji 50,000 horses, 100,000 soldiers, 1,700 elephants, and all the other things, if Mahamati Prannathji would embrace the ritualistic teachings of Islam. Mahamati Prannathji said, I'm trying to awaken the whole world. I'm trying to spread the transcendent understanding to the world. And you are offering me all this? So that is the description that we find in Britanta Muktavali and other Beetak. But in Lal Dasi's Beetak, there is no mention. There is no description of Mahamati Prannathji meeting Aurangzeb. Mahamati Prannathji was in Sanganer. Mukunda Das and others were looking, Mukunda Das and Sheikh Badal were looking for Prannathji. Prannathji came from Amir to Sanganer. And when Mukunda Das and Sheikh Badal came to Amir looking for Mahamati Prannathji, they realized that Prannathji had already reached Sanganer. Mukunda Das was actually coming from Udaipur, so they thought that he would meet Mahamati Prannathji in Sanganer. And in the middle of the street, in the middle of the road, somebody tried to kill them and robbed him, and somehow they make it to Sanganer. तहाँ से आए, पूर्व में तहाँ एक दुकान पर श्री जी साहेब जी बैठे, देखे एक खाट ऊपर. There were two Sundar Sats with Prannathji serving him, Chabil Das and Mulak Chand. And Mahamati Prannathji was sitting on a house, on the chair outside. They didn't have any food. They were not having anyone to serve them any food. They were starving. And Sheikh Badalwai and Mukunda Das came, arranged all the foods and everything. Sheikh Badal gave Mahamati Prannathji 300 rupees. That to today's terms, that's a lot of money. And Mahamati Prannathji met all these Sundar Satji and had a good moment there. Mukunda Dasi was not really fond of the Islamic revelations that Mahamati Prannathji had. So he asked Mahamati Prannathji, now what are we going to do? Because your attempt to awaken Aurangzeb failed. The 12 momins are under his house arrest. So what are you going to do now? You are going to awaken only the Hindus, or you are continuing to approach and find the Muslims and trying to awaken them? Mahamati Prannathji says, Aur ilaaj kara marahu jada ukhadu bunyad. I'll kill all these Mughals. I will kill their ego, basically. And I will continue to attempt an awakening them. Because these guys, the Mughals, are not treating the Hindus right. They're doing a lot of injustices. They're killing, they're destroying the temples. So they would have to pay the price for it. Mahamati Prannathji's audacity, Mahamati Prannathji's confidence in crushing the terror of Aurangzeb and Mughal emperors convinced Mukunda Dasi that indeed Mahamati Prannathji was going to do what he meant. Mahamati Prannathji is there, and they finally got to Udaipur. Mahamati Prannathji asked all the momins, all the Sundar Sats to join him. Baiji Maharani and hundreds of other Sundar Sats that are there in Anupsar, they were all called to Udaipur. In Udaipur, Mahamati Prannathji finds Nur Muhammad, Jahan Muhammad, among other Muslim disciples. They come and listen to his discourse. Sheikh Badalwai, who was among the 12 souls in the house arrest of Aurangzeb, could come and go. He was allowed to exit the house arrest. So he comes, and Mahamati Prannathji realizes that it's about time that these 12 momins be called. So Sheikh Badalwai asked the emperor and the associates to release them, because their attempt to have one-on-one with Aurangzeb was simply fading away. The opportunity was no longer there. So the 12 souls, 12 momins, were brought forward to the Emperor Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb was happy to see them, well and happy, because these guys were happy to finally meet Prannathji and all other Sundar Satji. They were there in the house arrest for months. As soon as Aurangzeb saw these 12 momins, Dekhya Same Sultana ne Tina Bera Fera Fera Sira Nawai Dekhya De Khudaina Ko Khaira. He looked at the sky, he asked for Khuda's help in having them good health and everything. And he asked his associates to give them 100 rupees. And he bade them farewell. He did not have one-on-one with them, but he wanted them to have a sound health and good life. Finally, all these 12 souls, 12 momins, get out of Delhi, get out of the house arrest, and meet Prannathji in Udaipur. Now the question remains, was Aurangzeb awakened? Was the spirit or soul of Sakumar awakened. To many Sundarsats, he was not, because he did not get the Tartam mantra. He did not have one-in-one. He did not have the understanding of Marifat, the understanding of the Lord Supreme and His Leelas and His abode. So was he truly awakened? That is the topic that we'll cover tomorrow, and the awakening of Sundarsats in Udaipur, and how Mahamati Prannathji had to leave Udaipur to another town in an attempt of awakening in his pursuit. He is still continuing his pursuit to awaken Sakundal, the other leading soul of Paramdham. Dear Sundarsatji, we'll get into those discussions tomorrow. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for staying till the end of this session. Pranamji.